Cobra back at it with another video. If you're trying to get a hold of me via my cell phone, it's not going to happen. My cell phone is currently kaput.
Josh is without a doubt the most difficult human being ever met in my life. Just
I love how I make an effort not to drink or be drunk around my family this Christmas, and I still get shit for it.
And you try every tactic, and he'll just flip it on you. And you try this, and he flips it on you. So it's very, very, very challenging. This is where my hair went. I used to have a lot of hair, and that's where it all went.
I digress. I don't want to get into it. I'm just going to let it go because the whole fight was fucking stupid. And I don't want any drama in my life. All I wanted for Christmas was to be able to spend time with my family without any fighting or any drama. And I can't even have that. It is what it is.
I want my kid brushing his teeth. I want my kid taking a shower. I want my kid keeping his room clean. You know, I want my kid having a job, and I want my kid taking care of himself physically and mentally. Of course, I want all that. But in his eyes, every time I even remind him, I'm lecturing. I'm trying to change him.
The whole fight started because I went outside to have a cigarette, and my mom and dad are like, "Could you not drink any more of that homemade wine while you're here? Thanks."
That just is who he is, you know, and he's always been that way. And literally what you see, aside from the substance abuse, what you see is Josh. And this is one of the reasons I think he's loved and hated, is because nobody else got the balls to be that way.
I wasn't planning on it because I already had enough. So, like, it felt like they were giving me shit just because they could.
And then they go, "Oh, the decline. We're so worried about the decline. Josh's drinking decline. Gee, I wonder why the fuck he drinks."
Because I enjoy it. I do. I enjoy it. It makes me feel good.
Temporarily. But we won't have that conversation. But it's, and then they, you know, it came up in your interview too. It's been so sad to watch the decline. Well, I wonder why he has a decline.
People want to accuse me of being an asshole when I drink, and I'm like, I'm only an asshole when you fuck with me, dude. And that's fair.
And if Josh is going to change, he's got to want to change. Because it's too much work. Nobody can do it for him. And it's the same thing with alcohol. He's got to want to stop it. And I think there's parts of him that want to have it.
I don't want to stop drinking alcohol, but I do want to cut down on it. And I've been making a solid effort on that.
Yes, yeah.
I wasn't planning on getting drunk around my family for the holidays. You know, I have a social drinking limit, and that's 3 to 4 cocktails, drinks, whatever.
And he just is unapologetically himself all the time. That takes balls.
Because I didn't want to repeat it last year, dude.
Last year's holiday break where he ended up in the jail was a real eye-opener for him.
You know, and to be called a selfish piece of shit and an asshole when I drank, and I'm like, really? If I was so selfish, dude, I would have fucking chugged the entire bottle of homemade wine and showed up to my family's house blackout, but I didn't. Josh
has a really hard time with holidays, too. Because, you know, he doesn't have enough shit to deal with. He also has severe holiday seasonal depression. And as we all know, Josh drinks to cope. He self-medicates with alcohol. And it was one of those things. I've been waiting in his parking lot for 2.5 hours because we were trying to leave town. When he finally came out, he was just so drunk. And then I called him out on it in the vehicle, and I called him out on it. And then he started getting really pissed off. He got sick. And then after he got sick, he just started being very belligerent and very angry because I was lecturing him about it. And I wasn't even using a lecturing tone. I was just trying to talk to him. And unbeknownst to me, he had another pint of Jack in his pocket, and he gets it out and starts chugging it.
I made an effort to be sober and only limit my drinks to 4. And I still got shit for it, dude. Like, they assume I'm just gonna fuck up, and they didn't even give me the chance to succeed.
We're getting gas, and he gets out, and he's in the parking lot, just screaming at the top of his lungs and drinking and slamming this and walking around the parking lot, doing, you know how he rants. You know, he's doing one of his rants in the middle of the parking lot with a bottle of booze in his hands, and called the cops. He's disturbing the peace and public intoxication. And the cop's like, "What do you want me to do with him?" I said, "Take him to jail, man." I'm serious. You got to be held responsible for that. And what he was doing is not okay and it's not acceptable. And he needs to be held responsible for it. So the cop's like, "You sure you don't want to help him?" I said, "No, you take him to the tank. I'm not going to take him home and babysit him. He needs, somebody called the cops on him. You need to take care of it. He needs to be held responsible for his actions."
I get really depressed around this time of year because of the breakup I had with Summer. And then on top of that, it's like, oh great, my idol Ozzy Osbourne has a fucking spinal tumor. I lost Puff. One of my relatives is in the hospital. Not gonna say which one. And it's bumming me the fuck out, dude. I'm sorry, but it is.
And when I told him about what he did, he felt really horrible. And he said, okay. And that's when he agreed to start getting counseling. And that's been,
He's been going to counseling.
We haven't gone for like a month now because I'm in my busy season right now, and I'm his normal ride for stuff. So where I'm in busy season, I haven't been able to. I'm just can't until the end of this month is when I get back to a normal schedule.
Nothing like being screamed at by your father as he's driving you home. I'm like, instead of having a conversation about this like mature adults who are just gonna yell at each other, okay, I can do that too. Like, and I don't mean to yell at my family or dog on them or any of that, but like when I spend my entire fucking life getting bullied and critiqued and chastised, just breathing, let alone existing, and then my family has to insert their 2 cents.
But I can't change him. Those are, like I said, self help comes from self help. It's called self help for a reason, and change isn't easy. And that's the other thing. I think we all know somebody in our lives who struggled with substance abuse, and it's a very sad thing to watch them slowly demise into this canyon, and they don't see it, and they don't acknowledge it, and they don't want to see it or acknowledge it. And it's very hard as someone who loves a person in a position to watch it happen.
I get a little defensive, dude. I'm sorry to my family. I really am, because I know they watch my videos. And it is what it is.
And feel so hopeless. And you do what you can. And you love them. And that's it.
Would it have killed my family to be like, hey, Josh, appreciate you not getting blackout drunk around Christmas like you did last year. What you got there? Some homemade wine? Can I try some of it? But no. I'm like, that's all right. That is all fucking right.
You've talked about this a little bit, but I think, what do you think is the best thing about Josh? What is his greatest quality?
Well, two. One is kindness. He is seriously just an incredibly compassionate person, especially with animals and older people.
Oh yeah, I love my senior citizens.
And the fact that shit that he goes through on a daily basis, and he just is unapologetically himself all the time. That takes balls.
Christmas dinner was just fine. Even though me and my family had a fight, and it's always my fault, and nothing I do is ever right in their eyes, I'm still going to say I had an amazing Christmas, and I'm sorry, and I'll continue to work on myself.
And he just puts it all out there. And this is me. Take it or leave it.
I'm not like it, kiss my ass burgers.
I'm not going to change for you. I'm not going to change for them. This is who I am, and I'm going to stay that way.
Because I wanted to be silly, and that's exactly what I did.